It's so stupid, it's positively brilliant.
The Brilliant Idiots Podcast.
We had Alex Jones on a podcast. Wild boy.
How does Alex smell?
Great. Like,
no, seriously. I really, I don't know why I wonder how he smells.
Great. Yeah, fresh.
Okay.
I mean, by the end of it, it was very much like Jameson, but in the beginning, just very fresh.
He gets fucked up.
My man was going for it, dude. He was going for it.
And, did he tell y'all that beforehand, or he just walked in and started licking and was like, pour up?
Yeah, I think it was more like saw the liquor, pour up, let's get busy and let's get down to it. And that guy just, wow, man. I mean, absolutely fucking hysterical. Probably one of the funniest podcasts I've ever been a part of. I understand he's a very polarizing figure for good reason, but
everybody is.
He said what I thought was the best argument that I've ever heard for reparations.
Okay.
He said, because Alex asked him, he's like, how do you feel about reparations? He's like, I support it, but I think it should come from the businesses that profited off of slavery and the businesses that profited off of the disenfranchisement of black people. So if there's a specific business, right, that was making money off of basically selling the slave, like some of these banks probably were the ones holding the mortgages. You basically took out a mortgage to like buy a human being. Like if those banks are still around today, if those banks are Bank of America and they made tons of money off it, well, then pay the fuck up. Because he brought an interesting point. He goes, if you're some poor white guy that works at fucking, some diner in the middle of Arkansas, and then people are going, yo, you're privileged, you need to start paying some of your money to black people. They're like, I didn't have anything to do with that. My life sucks. Why do I got to start paying? But these billion-dollar corporations that got some of them fucking billions from enslaving black people, they should pay up. I don't think that white guy's going to be mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Jones is right, but that's always been the argument. Like, people have always said that. That's always been like an age-old thing that people said. Any corporation, company that has, profited directly off slavery, they had a whole list. If you Google it, there's a whole list of institutions that exist now that directly benefited from slavery. And most people that fight for reparations have been saying, yeah, tax those corporations. I mean, that's something T.I. was out there championing the year before. I don't know if it was last year, maybe early last year before last. Even Robert Smith now with his 2% plan where he wants these corporations and institutions to give 2% of their net income per year to different black organizations. But that's always been a thing. He's absolutely right with that.
I just thought it was a really interesting argument. I've never heard about specifically the businesses that profited off of it because that's accountability 101. I think the biggest issue people have with...
Yeah, see, it's right here. 15
I know, I believe you.
Corporations.
I believe you. I'm just saying,
from slavery.
I think the
Lehman
biggest...
Brothers, Aetna Inc., JP Morgan Chase, New York Life, yeah.
All I'm saying is that I think the biggest issue white America has with reparations is, I didn't do it, and I had nothing to do with it. So why am I paying money when I might not be successful right now?
Ancestors.
Well, because the ramifications of slavery are still being felt today.
Yeah, but that wasn't a choice by those people. Those businesses that are still around today chose to profit off of it, and then they use 100%. Those profits to build those businesses. So it's like, well, fuck them.
Yeah, but all white people benefit off that caste system that was created. You know what I'm saying? Even when people talk about the racial wealth gap in America, well, there probably wouldn't have been a racial wealth gap if there wasn't 400 years of free labor given. You know what I mean? And when the slavery was over, the slaves didn't get compensated, but the slave masters did. Which is yet another example of America always dumping money into the wrong fucking shit.
There's no question, 100% true, but it wasn't something they asked for, right? It's not something that, and then some people, I'm sure, asked for racist laws, and some people have been fighting for racist laws and racist policies, 100%. But some white guy that just like moved here from fucking Russia in the year 1987 is like, dude, I just met black people for the first time when I got here. They're not going to be, what I'm trying to talk about is the most practical way to get the money.
But you know what you tell that white person?
Say what?
You know what you tell that white person who just moved here?
What?
Mind your business. This don't got nothing to do with you. This is between us and the American government. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He really can't do nothing anyway.
I would tell the white dude from Russia, look, dig into your lineage. All right. Find you a cause, find you a reason that you're old and get your money. Because 9 times out of 10, you are probably owed something from this country.
Right.
More than likely.
I'm just saying, like, there's 2 ways to go about this. There's the emotional way to go about this, and you can't make the argument against racism. There's no argument against racism. There's no argument that white people have profited from racism. Every single white person. Like, you just can't. Nobody could argue that. But it's unrealistic to get the support from all these poor whites, especially in a time where they're probably at their most poor.
Why do we need support from poor whites?
Well, this is democracy, right? So, like,
there's only one person that's ever leaned into support from poor whites, and that was Donald Trump. Like, what are the poor whites gonna have to do with this situation?
Can't do nothing anyway.
It's not like they got to vote on reparations.
Yeah, well, they vote for the people who vote on reparations, and they might not support a vote for reparations if it makes them feel as if some of their money is going to be going in somebody else's pockets for something that they don't have anything to do. I'm telling you, like, the reason why these think tanks exist in DC is because they test the temperature of different theories, right? And the whole job is to go, how do people react to this? Okay, they're reacting to this poorly, so let's switch the name of it, right? The estate tax is a way better name than the death tax for the same thing. But people go, wait a minute, why should I pay taxes on my dad dying? That's not fair. But estate tax is, well, I don't have an estate. Yeah, you should tax those rich people who have estates.
So instead of reparations, you think you should? I mean, I always say economic equity packages.
I think the biggest hurdle is just getting is the accountability thing. The white person that feels like they're completely disconnected from what happened to black people, I don't think they're going to want to feel as if they're contributing money, especially if they're struggling. But the white person that sees these billion-dollar corporations that they also feel fucked by is going to go, hey, we get to stick it to them? Well, fuck yes, stick it to them.
Well, that's why the study is important, right? Because the whole HR 40 study is going to, factor in who profited off slavery, how slavery is still impacting us today, how we can come up with a fair, economic equity package, which, by the way, there is no fair economic equity package because you really can't put a price on what happened to slaves in this country. So it's like, I personally don't think that reparations is ever going to come from the government. I think it's only going to come from these corporations. When you see somebody like, I think it was J.P. Morgan Chase, who just committed to giving $10 billion to black women organizations over the next 10 years. I think it was, Google that real quick, Taylor. I think it was, this just came out like last week. But they said they're giving $10 billion over the next 10 years to black organizations. And when you see the NBA or the NFL, commit a certain amount of money, or when you see these corporations that are doing Robert Smith's 2% plan, I think it's only going to come from corporations. I don't think the American government will ever. Goldman Sachs, that's what it was. I don't think the government is ever going to say, here's reparations for black people, regardless of who's with it. I mean, we live in a country where yesterday, literally yesterday in Tennessee, they're voting on whether or not to abolish slavery because slavery is still legal in the state constitution. And 4 Republican senators in Tennessee voted against it.
Crazy.
And one of the guys said...
There's only 2 senators per state.
What do you mean?
Every state has 2 senators.
No, that can't be the case because 4 Republican senators in Tennessee voted against it yesterday.
Are they like...
This is state now.
Oh, this is state senators. This isn't
state.
Like
this is in
the
Tennessee.
Senate as we know it. This isn't, okay.
Yeah, this is in the state constitution in Tennessee.
Right.
So the 4 senators voted against it. One of the dudes said, I mean, there's really no need to vote against this because it's not real. Slavery was fake. It was a false history of slavery. It's like, you think they're going to ever give you reparations if they won't even admit slavery was real?
Yeah. It was a game.
Like, come on, man.
Never happened.
It's like I literally just sent this, right? I sent this to a friend. I literally just sent this. This is mental health. A tip for mental health. Learn to distinguish who deserves an explanation, who deserves one answer, and who deserves absolutely nothing. Imagine having a conversation with reparations to a guy who doesn't even believe slavery was real and doesn't even want to vote to abolish slavery. You think that conversation will get anywhere, Schulz?
No.
But those are the people who are in charge of legislation.
Yeah, you can't reason with someone who never used reason to come to their conclusions.
Very true. Very true. So I personally think reparations is only going to come from corporations. And it's not going to ever be called reparations, right? It's just going to be people who are in these positions of power who have seen the the injustice that has happened to black people in this country, and they're deciding to do the right thing. Whether it's Goldman Sachs saying we're going to invest $10 billion here, or another company saying we're going to invest this into the black community, or we're going to invest this into black organizations, or we're going to give equity to black people, when they come to our companies. That's the only way I think it's ever going to even get close to what we would call reparations. But that's why I call it economic equity packages.
Go after the people with the
But Alex isn't wrong at all, because I think that's the only place it's going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did he say? What else interesting did he say?
Oh God, a lot of things, bro. He's a wild motherfucker. He was talking about interdimensional beings. He was talking about
Is he a character?
Yeah.
Does he really believe this shit?
I told him, I was like, dude, just say you're a comedian. Like I said, if you had said you were a comedian fucking years ago, nobody would care. Like, you just say wild shit. That's what comedians do for a living. But the fact that you position yourself as a journalist, you're going to get the expectations of a journalist. That's simple. You're asking for those expectations. But I think Mark even asked him, he's like, should your audience take everything you say seriously? And he was like, no. So
I feel like that with everybody, though.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with the society we live in now. We take everything too fucking seriously.
Yeah.
Do that.
That's why sarcasm is dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you gotta like that quote I read. It's like, yo, you gotta know what to give your energy to. Does everything deserve a response? Does everything deserve outrage?
Oh.